Hello, my name is Brady Parker. I'm a gamer, simple as that. Now, I'm here just to talk for a little bit, and that little bit can vary for however long it needs to be. This message is about gamers in general, and some of the stigma they've gotten. Now, if you're a concerned mother, you might be discussing the fact that, my son doesn't want to I'm not gonna let my son play this game. It'll make him violent. That's what I want to talk about. Now, granted, on YouTube, the media, everything, this topic's been brought up, but this is what I want. This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about video games. Yes, this is a broad topic, but what I wish to discuss is that I'm also wearing a video game shirt, the symbol for the game Overwatch, a Blizzard-made first-person shooter. Now, on the topic of a first-person shooter, the big-name topics such as Halo and Call of Duty have always received some stigma, even Grand Theft Auto. And it's a correlation between violent video games and violent behavior. Granted, there's been plenty of research that will support that no, video games don't make you violent and video games do make you violent. I am here to be the devil's advocate for both. For starters, video games do make people violent, yes, but you also have to think of the age group they're discussing in. A younger child, such as in the range of 6 to 8, has more of a sponge-like brain, and what they see in the video games, and if they're not, I want to say, cared for enough, will be more prone to those violent behaviors. Meanwhile, a 13 or 14-year-old might be able to at least have more of a general concept of like, oh, I know this is bad. Now, granted, on the internet, there's probably plenty of these discussions, and I apologize for the poor light. This is the best I can do. But this is what I just want to talk about. There was a link between violent behavior and violent video games, but there also is no link. Sounds like a Schrodinger's cat equation. It is both there and not there. As for myself, yes, I am a gamer, but you do not see me as a violent individual, hopefully. Some of the you might say, like, oh, this guy is just ranting about video games because he's a nerd. Yes, I am a nerd. I'm a gamer. I love playing video games. It's a passion of mine. But granted, just because I enjoy playing a first-person shooter such as Halo or Call of Duty, I am apparently targeted as a violent individual. That's something that's not right. Granted that I'm also an adult. Yes, I might not look like it, but I am an adult. I'm not saying how old I am for safety reasons. As for a fact, yes, video games do cause violent acts because they exhibit violent behavior, but you have to believe there's more than video games than there's violence. You have Viva Pinata, which is a game where you raise video game pinatas, which I hands down enjoyed a lot. And then there are strategy games such as Halo Wars, which is a Halo game that's you're a commander in chief and you're fighting other people. But I just want to keep bringing up this fact that there's more to video games than just violence. You have platformer games, you have puzzle games, you have adventure games, you have RPGs, which are role-playing games, MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games. You have massive online battle arenas. You have all sorts of video games, and and the media will always like to point out saying no matter what, a video game is going to make you violent. I heavily disagree with that. You also have to look in the environment they are set in. If you're set in an environment where you're not being watched all the time, like my prime example are the 6-year-olds playing Call of Duty using the most profound language. In my own honest opinion, correct me if I am wrong, because I am taking this is my full honest opinion, everyone has one, don't judge me for it. But you're a 6-year-old, okay, let me put the scenario into your head. You are let's say a teenager, so 16, 17, 18, let's just say that. And you go online, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, all that stuff. You go in and you load up a match of Call of Duty. What's the most recent one? Black Ops. Let's go with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. There we go. That was it. And let's say you're on Xbox One. Once you get into a multiplayer match, and you in the lobby before the game even starts, you will hear probably some of the screen. I don't even know if it's in Advanced Warfare since I don't play it, but I'm gonna go back to my older example: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and 2. Hands down, two of my favorite Call of Duties in the entire Call of Duty franchise. I remember back in my day when I was playing that, and all I heard was squeakers yelling, "I banged your mom last night." And I use banged in that term as in they used the most profound, vulgar language of all time. What I want to talk about is that, yes, these kids who probably sound like they're 6 or 7 are using this language, and it's, to me, what are the parents doing? The parents are letting this be I want to say, accepted upon in them. So those little kids will get more violent, and they will have more violent tendencies. And now, when you think of, I really do hate to pull this example up, but the one example I want to bring up, the Sandy Hook school shooting. As much as it pains me to talk about that, it was very brutal, and the shooter himself did happen to play video games, and the media said, and that sparked a whole thing in the media, as well as saying, oh, look, he was playing video games, he must have been a violent individual. But I did some research, and the individual who committed that, I'm keeping his name private because I'm pretty sure a lot of people know it, had mental issues. And the media overlooked that. They only looked at the fact that they make a video game a scapegoat. I honestly do not like the idea of video games being a scapegoat because, in my own honest opinion, video games are a way to relieve stress depending on what you play. For me, my stress relieving game is honestly to play Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. It is a mildly graphic game. Yes, it is violent, but how I play it is that I walk around the place. I follow the path. I enjoy the peacefulness of a beautiful game. I don't do heinous violent acts. Like, my another example is that Grand Theft Auto, another game that's got stigma because it's so violent. You don't see you're playing as a character you created in the multiplayer or one of 3 characters in Grand Theft Auto 5 if you play the campaign. What I want to talk about there is that when you're playing the online part, you don't go in there without saying, "Oh, hey, I just robbed the bank. I'm gonna go and rob it." You don't have that same mentality in real life because you know the consequences. But if you're younger, you might not realize that, and that's a problem. Is that if we let younger generations, such as kids who are in the range of, I want to say, 5 to 9, where their brains are still like sponges in that same general area, it's a bad idea to let them play these heinous games because they all have the mentality that, oh, this is fine. Being violent is fine. And it also depends on the household. Like, if the mother or father doesn't care and they'll let them play whatever they want, that's really not good because it'll make them more violent. There's scientific fact on this. Now, to some, you might be thinking, oh, I'm just ranting about, but I have done the research. I haven't linked it because I'm not going to do it. But my point is that when you play video games, you're having fun. But even the online community of video games can be quite, as the term is, toxic. You have people who will scream at you for the minorest of all mistakes. But that's also in different scenarios. The right thing to do is to at least have a more, I don't want to say stricter because you should have the freedom to play whatever you want, but there needs to be more of a, I want to say, quote-unquote, guard for what you should play. Like, I honestly do believe a 6-year-old should not be playing Call of Duty. It is not right. But I also do believe in the fact that if you're at least 14 to 15, maybe 13 is the lowest, you can play Call of Duty because you have a better grasp of the world. Because, let's be honest, I'm on YouTube. I'm recording a video to post. Granted, everyone on here has at least played a video game. I want to ask the people who are watching this video a question. When you play a video game, would you ever commit any of the crimes you play? If you play Saints Row, would you ever go on a high-speed chase and crash into everything? If you play Grand Theft Auto 5, would you go and hire a woman? You know what I mean? I might as well say it. You might as well hire a prostitute and have her in the back of your car. Would you do that in real life? I wouldn't, because I actually have common sense. I don't even know common sense is the right word, but I wouldn't do it. I honestly, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I just want to have a little bit of strict regulations on video games because I do not want to. You might call me, oh, I'm a sissy because I don't like hearing profound words. No, it's not that. It's that I don't like hearing children use profound words. I do not want to hear my 7-8-year-old nephew screaming. I don't want to hear my 7-year-old nephew just screaming at me with the most profound language. I don't think that's right. Now, judge me as much as you want. I want to say I have morals. I know what's right. I know what's wrong. Some of the stuff I do in video games, I would never even attempt in real life. Hell, I wouldn't even think about doing it in real life because I know it's wrong. But if you have a little kid who does nothing but play violent video games, their mind's going to be more filled with the violence in their sponge of a brain because it's still forming. And that will include their heinous tendencies, which is not wrong, which is not right. Even though people will disagree with me on this, I am guaranteed that there will be plenty of stigma against me for making this video, which I will gladly take. There just has to be something we can do. I know there's something out there, but we need to do something, because evidence included, there is evidence that yes, video games do increase violent behaviors, but there's also signs that no, it doesn't increase violent behavior. But it all depends on who you're asking and the age group we're talking about. A teenager is going to have less of a major impact depending on the environment and game, but a little kid will have more of an impact on environment and the game. If you have two 6-year-olds, one playing Call of Duty and the other one playing Viva Pinata, the child playing Viva Pinata will probably be happy and friendly, but he could also still turn out to be violent if the household is bad. Now, the 6-year-old playing Call of Duty can turn out violent even if the household even if the household is good. It all depends on the game, the age, and the environment set upon. In my honest opinion, that is. I'm pretty sure, experiments aside, there are people who agree and disagree with me. And if you do agree and disagree with me, that is fine. I respect and appreciate your opinion within reason. If you do not disagree with me, do not just say I don't disagree with you. Give me reasons why you don't disagree with me. If you agree with me, same purpose. If you agree with me, why do you agree with me? It's harder to understand this if you just say, oh, I agree, and I agree, blah, 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 instead of, oh, I agree. Because if I ask the average person, do you think video games increase violence in children? And they say yes. And they just say yes. There's no evidence to say of why they do that. Now, if I ask that same question, but say yes, it increases violent behavior because it has a tendency to make the children more violent, that's a more valid response because you have a feasible process behind it. And the same thing goes with disagreeing. If you disagree with me, no, video games don't cause violence because if you're in the right... Anyways, enough of that. Well, I think I've been talking for enough. I hope this video has been good. I'll be signing off. And hopefully my little rant, as some people would like to call it, have learned a thing or two. Goodbye.